What we have been trying to do, starting in October, then in December, and now, is to try and get people back to work. The things we're trying to pass in this bill are the time-tested, proven, bipartisan solutions to get businesses to stop laying off people, to hire people back, and to help those people who've lost their jobs. It's more than just giving someone an unemployment check. It's also helping those people with their health insurance while they've lost their jobs. And more important than just that unemployment check is to do what we can to give people a paycheck. We've got to get the engine of economic growth growing again, because we now know, because of a recession, we don't have the revenues we wanted to. We don't have the revenues we need to fix Medicare, to fix Social Security, to fix these issues. We've got to get Americans back to work. Then the surpluses come back. Then the jobs come back. That is the constructive answer we're trying to accomplish here on, yes, a bipartisan basis. I urge members to drop the demagoguery and to pass this bill to help us work together to get the American people back to work and help those people who've lost their jobs.
Who is that guy?
Who is that guy?
It gets better.
Where do I get to wear a pin?
Yeah, you're ready to vote for. And it was not just a line that Ryan gave in Washington. According to the Wisconsin newspaper, the Journal-Times, he goes back to his district and at a town hall meeting with constituents back in his district, he's making the case for Keynesian stimulus spending in much simpler terms. This is what he says. Quote, "You have to spend a little to grow a little. What we're trying to do is stimulate the part of the economy that's on its back." Paul Ryan, 2012, you have to spend a little to grow a little. No, Paul Ryan, 2002, you have to spend a little to grow a little. Paul Ryan, 2012, we hate and reject the failed experiment of Keynesian. It shows Paul Ryan defending what was then a George W. Bush stimulus to get out of it, and using every single argument of the basic deficit spending argument about stimulus. And I'm just curious, Michael Grunwald, you've written this book that is the most, I think, thorough investigation of the Recovery Act and politics of it and what it did. What is your response when you hear that?
I'm shocked. No, I mean, I think I do tell the story in the book about how, Republicans, even before Obama took office, had decided that essentially anything Obama stands for, they're going to have to fight. Stimulus, Paul Ryan supported the 2002 Bush stimulus. He supported the 2008 Bush stimulus. Right. This was not a controversial topic. In 2008, every presidential candidate, Republican and Democrat, had a stimulus plan. The largest was actually by some guy that you might have heard of. He was the governor of Massachusetts. The name's escaping me. That's right. Yeah, it was $250 billion, Mitt Romney's stimulus plan.
And he had the largest stimulus plan.
The largest of all of them. And, Republicans, the $787 billion Obama stimulus, which had tax cuts and spending, was, of course, tyrannical socialism. But there was a Republican substitute that was $715 billion of spending and tax cuts. That was apparently good public policy. Right. Paul Ryan voted for that one, too. So this is...
Wait, Paul Ryan voted for a $750 billion Republican stimulus?
He most certainly did. And there was an interesting argument inside the Republican leadership where the Mike Pence side, the kind of true ideological conservatives said, hey, our stimulus should not be this, we shouldn't be trying to out-New Deal the Democrats. But the Eric Cantors and Paul Ryan said, hey, no, we need to do something that, our moderates can vote for, because the most important thing is to give everybody something to say yes to, so that they can say no to Obama. And Paul Ryan, of course, fell off both sides of the horse. He voted for the ideological one, and he voted for the political one, and then he went out and trashed the very similar Obama one as, the death of American free enterprise.
This goes to show that Romney and Ryan are match made in heaven. They both walk around with Etch-a-Sketch. Right? And it's like, and we're not seeing these clips on Fox News, right? I mean, it's great that this hypocrisy has got to be exposed, because, in fact, we have to stimulate the economy through this kind of spending.
People forget that in the fourth quarter of 2008, GDP fell at a 9% annual rate. That's a depression. That's at that rate, we would have lost an entire Canadian economy in 2009. In January 2009, we lost 800,000 jobs. Then we passed a stimulus. The next quarter had the biggest improvement in jobs in 30 years. but it was still terrible.
Right.
And that really crushed the politics, because essentially you've got a jobs bill while you're hemorrhaging jobs. As like you said, you had an 8 million job hole, and this was a 3 million job solution. There was no stimulus.
But you, in the book, you're pretty tough on liberals on this, right? I mean, I think that you make the case that liberals didn't defend that they should have stood with the law and defended the policy and defended the legislation.